Dumela and welcome to the Think Set podcast. Now, in today's conversation, I'm speaking to Dr. Fazam Kamalabadi, who is the Envoy, special envoy to the President, looking at more international relations. However, he's also a brain that one would be happy to poke into and try and get some insight on how he's been doing. He's been involved in the transformation of a number of countries, including China, and he's in Botswana now to be a part of the transformation we want to see in Botswana. Right, so, Shetori.
Blessings to you.
Blessings to you too, merci. Dr. Fazam, I think our conversation will just go simple and straightforward.
Sure.
The first thing is obviously to know who you are. That's the first thing that, even though many people know, but it'll be nice to hear the definition from you.
Sure. I am actually a simple man and with a self-given mission to help the rise of nations, and the ultimate goal is total poverty eradication.
All right.
So this is a quest from childhood. Now, yes, here I have been appointed as the presidential envoy on international relations and economic development, and serving and available to dialogue with you.
All right. So one would wonder, how did you end up in Botswana? How did you hear about Botswana? How did you end up in Botswana?
As I said, I am after a quest. So early on in 1981, 2 downloads came to me. First one, go to China, help rise China. Go to Africa and help rise Africa. That is 45 years ago. I went faithfully, learned many Chinese dialects, Mandarin, Cantonese, Shanghainese, writing, hieroglyphic, calligraphy, even the classics, even poetry. And I visited 500 cities, 1,000 counties, and it was like within 35 years, I was instrumental in helping the surprise rise of China.
Right.
Now, on the back of that, I had started a movement throughout the continent, continental-wide movement, that is called the Surprise Rise of Africa, or the collective peaceful rise of Africa. That quest, when I went soliciting it to about 30 countries, many presidents have joined, and also many national parliaments have read it, and also there is a media blast all over on that, how to fast track the financial growth and powers of Africa for an ultimate total poverty eradication by economic modeling. So that process brought me to Botswana. Some of the movement followers, they told me, there is a young upcoming leader, if you work with him, and when he becomes president, then that we had basically a pact with our spirit brother, Sir Duma Gideon Boko, that we need a benchmark, a model miracle nation.
Right.
So Botswana was already unique. I just didn't know how much from before it was coming down. Now we have to lift it back up.
All right. Now looking at, let's first, before we zoom into Botswana, look at Africa. Dynamics are different. You look at China, you're looking at population almost equivalent to that of one of the continents around. And the model of economy there completely different from culture. But when you come to Africa, it's different diverse cultures, different diverse economies at play. How are you able to calculate this balance?
Yeah. First of all, of course, every country and continent and every nation and tribes are different. So China is a country with 1.5 billion population. India is a country and subcontinent with also 1.5 billion population. Africa is a full continent, 55 countries, also with 1.5 billion population, much larger, massive land. For me, I'm after the population. So 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, altogether 4.5 billion, that is 2/3 of humanity. So for me, you cannot do one by one projects and raise the wealth of the nations. I have learned modeling methodologies, systems, and what I call both mental, spiritual, as well as practical, pragmatic, financial, economic systems that ultimately results in the rise of the economy and GDP of countries. So I'm applying that model. That is regardless of culture, or civilization, because each have their own challenges. The commonality is more than the differentiations.
Right, which makes a lot of sense. Now let's zoom into Botswana.
Yeah.
You said something that you actually got in contact, or you've been in contact with DGB before he became president. I think that's one of the things that needs to be set clarified, that everyone will think he became president, he brought people. So I want to know your connection prior to him becoming president.
Yes, he is the most erudite, most capable leader, and with or without me, he would make a great nation. And of course, we are so united that I believe together we can make it greater and rise it higher. There's a lot of challenges, but we will overcome them. So I met him now over 2 years ago. And there are some friends in our group that know him even longer. But I had a very intense engagement with him, or him with me, even the 1 year leading to the victory. And in that period, of course, a lot of my documents, the Future Trends Africa Manifesto, have been embedded and mixed with the UDC Manifesto, but more importantly now with the National Development Plan, NDP 12, where 50 elements are the elements that we are working on that has come from our movement. And so we are like, basically, as I said, let's have a benchmark nation that will become a model nation, and it is miraculous rise of the nation. So I know him for a long time.
Right. This man took over a country that was out of one roof 58 years.
Yeah.
And when he stepped in, literally 2 months after he turned 58 years, he took this country. And upon rising to power, he highlighted a lot of issues that were there. Mm-hmm. Are these issues real and realistic from your perspective as someone who has been in the build-up?
First, motive and motivation is everything. This man is pure.
Yep.
He's not after selfish personal gains. Okay, everyone who contributes must have gains also.
Yeah.
He's very legitimate, but he's not after that. Mm-hmm. So the call to nobility, the call to greatness that he personally has, wants to become popularized in the nation. So we call it tautona. So it must be a leader, a real leader.
Yeah.
So he has those motives. If not, I would not be continuously staying in Botswana. Now I live here now nearly 1 year.
All right.
So two, in his vision, which is both domestic and international, is not only Botswana's return to wealth, but also leadership in Africa and in the world community, because the world has lost its leadership. So I have very high hopes that not only with him, not only with the administration, but with the population, the noble masses of Botswana, we can perform and outperform the challenges so that this nation, its greatness will shine. This is the real diamond, not the physical diamond in the ground. So I believe that there are methodologies that he is adopting, and many of thought patterns and initiatives that I have also proposed, and that these put together definitely will help the national challenges to be overcome. Beyond that, right. The idea is not to just solve the issue of lack of revenue. So we diversify new sources of revenue. Not just that, we have to go beyond. We have to create a wealth higher than before. And also a type of model that still cares for the population, because you are the nation that cared for the tribes, for the masses, for the rural areas. So I think a lot of thought patterns and ideologies that are high value to be exported from Botswana to other countries. You are a nation of no wars, khotla, collective consultation. You are a nation of no racial prejudice. The symbols of this country are about unity in diversity. So these elements have to be exported. In fact, on international relations, Botswana has 5 elements: independent, not the boys of others. It's its own man. Independent and yet neutral. It doesn't take extremes. And it is inclusive. So it has the interests of everyone in mind. Of course, its own populations first. And then beyond that, it is common denominator of good. And it is supra, looking for something higher that none of us have had. So all of these elements in a small population nation, a large nation, albeit a central nation, those elements have to be exported and taught to the other countries. But before you become a model and an example to the others, we have to do the homework. We have to build the in-house quite what I call first healthy, then wealthy. The internal order, if it is not healthy, it cannot produce wealth either.
Okay. And then he obviously having you around him and other voices that also help him shape this. Was it necessary for him to have advisors and envoys like yourself, especially that he's coming in as a new president to a country that has never changed power?
As I said, we don't take the credit
Yeah.
because we are simple. We are here to serve.
Yeah.
And not only me, the other advisors that he wisely selected and over time. So first of all, we are all majority, except one who was from before. The rest are all pro bono. We are pro bono. We are in the spirit of service. Each one of the advisors have different abilities. First of all, they can represent different countries and bring investors, bring the knowledge, bring the relationships of the different countries. 2 of them are from China, 2 of them from India, 2 of them in the Arab world, and then others is European background. Myself a bit overall, and I'm the only one who is at the OP at the moment. So, but again, as I said, it is his wisdom to selectively gather people, not only around him alone. It's presidential envoy or presidential advisors or presidential special envoys for a particular task, but there is a non-executive basically council, and there is a secretary, and it is part of the Ministry of basically State President, and it is connected to the different ministries, so that this system can give their advice, not just advice, but actions and contributions and strategies, especially when we are together.
Yeah. All right. So one of the things that we need to do is obviously build the economy. Humanity has in their nature to want to go into not this, that, complaining and wanting to balance things that they can't really necessarily balance. How do we drive a nation to say, look, new leader, new times, but the economy must transform?
Yes, as I said, you know how the light is a spectrum.
Yeah.
Very, very, what I call soft lights, and then very strong dark lights. Put together, it becomes the light. Mm-hmm. The same thing, a human needs and human soul has many layers of civilization: material civilization, mental civilization, spiritual civilization, even divine civilization. You have to appeal to each part of the human nature. At the same time, if you want to do a nation building or a society building, you need to appeal to all the needs. Basic needs is survival. Basic needs is the basically revenues and incomes of the households of individuals, but then they are not the receivers. If they are the receivers or the beggars, that society will never flourish. So out of the great heart to take care of our population, we cannot be one-directional giving them. Yeah, in fact, you can see even in the families, when a parent, they spoil the children, they never become financially independent and they never grow. Rather than spoiling, we have to let them reveal their abilities. So my model has all the spectrums. One, I call it source mentality, that you are the owners of your own destiny. It is Africa that subsidized Europe for 700 years. It is Africa that subsidized America for 300 years. It is Africa that is subsidizing China for 70 years, and not the other way around. And also don't wait for government subsidies, top to bottom. We have to become multi-engines of wealth generation and create surplus, and we contribute out. I am looking in Africa for a nation that will issue what I call an official foreign outbound debt. Africa issues debt, Europe takes it. I call it game over. Okay, many countries that are very needy in Europe now. Yeah. So anywhere from Kosovo, Serbia, you go to even Romania, you go to Bulgaria, you go to even Greek, Italy, and even England.
Yeah.
So all of those monies coming down, and they were actually subsidized by Africa indirectly. Now, willfully and willingly and on a plan, the wealth of Africa must rise and contribute. But before that, before the aggregate, it's to do with individual. That's why I created a movement.
Yeah.
I call it New Era, New Aura.
Yeah.
What is the New Era, New Aura? I read a little bit.
All right.
First, I wrote that this is the nation of source mentality. This is the nation of self-responsibility, the nation of abundance mind. Don't say we don't have anything, okay? But it comes from the nation of producing and contributing. That is not just a mindset, it's a mechanism change. Not the nation of waiting, okay, please hand out to me. No complacency. No nation of receiving, but of producing and contributing. For sure, not the nation of wasting. So I call it the nation of no complaining you mentioned.
Yeah.
Is a habit to complain, because complaint solves nothing. And criticizing others solves nothing. You roll your sleeves and you produce and you create. The nation must create systems and environment and ecosystem to let you and allow you and encourage you to produce.
Right.
So certain policies are needed. So not a nation of nagging or dependency. God forbid, not a nation of begging.
Yeah.
So don't ever have in mind, okay, give me handouts. So the nation of assuming responsibility means fast action. At the moment, we have challenge like that. Botswanas do take action, but so slow.
Yeah.
And they knock off 5 o'clock in the office. And the nights are so dark. There is no action and activity and vitality, vibrations.
Dies.
Yeah, not the night in the sense of what I call alcohol or this,
Yeah.
not even pedestrian streets.
But economic activity.
Yeah, even the night schools and universities. So we have to now come into the new era and a new aura. That's why the meaning is that. It's different than before. We cannot be a nation of only cattle owners and farm owners. Keep that, because culture and civilization you must keep. But you have to enhance and add dimensions. So the nation of producing early results. So break your bigger vision into steps and get results, prolific results. This is the dialogue I always have with Mr. President. How we can change the machinery so that it is a fast in, process out, and a result, and something to show to the nation. We don't need to have a media to boost up the image of this new administration. We have to have real content, real initiatives, real results, and then the whole nation will get excited and they will participate. So I call it a vortex. That means it comes in, gets processed, and out, and then repeats itself. So it's a process. It's the nations of movers and shakers. We are not only, so China was like that. Don't think that the culture is so superior or different. No. At the time of Cultural Revolution and after, when the economy was down and there was no privatization, zero, they were very, what I call pessimistic and very slow, no motivation. When they become privatized and they are making monies and that excitement goes to every group, then activation comes. So go-getter wasn't there before. We produce. So it doesn't matter if some of these qualities we don't have yet, we can build it. So not passive, but proactive. Not complacent, but go-getters. And the nation of what I call true democracy. The true democracy never complains. I voted, I elected, I must make sure that both president, administration, everybody will win, and myself with them. So not fractionalism. You can have differing opinions so that we have diversity of what I call creativity, but you cannot pull each other down. No way. You have to lift each other up. So a democracy is not just elections. It's after elections, how supportive are you? So we are creating all of these mentalities, and I continue later.
All right.
I don't want to be
and then
monotonous.
when we go to the obviously the plans and the mentality that you put together. One of the things that you point out is moving things fast, bringing results fast, right? Previously, we've had investors who come and go because things were a bit slow.
Yeah.
But this, we always often said government is slow. What about us, the people ourselves? Are we fast enough to attract someone to stay or to motivate the government officer to also execute accordingly?
First of all, I must say the destiny of this nation depends on fast maneuvering. Because on the one side, there is the iceberg, and here is the Titanic, and we are set on a crash course to fall. And we should be realizing and cognizant of the danger of not changing. So the country and the people that I got to know, and I love them, and I'm doing it with all humility, they have all the greatness and nobility. Most of them are well educated, but somehow a bit of contradiction. On the one hand, they want open door. On the one hand, they're afraid and close. And again, they want more investors. And then when the investors come, not at all, nothing will move, no approvals. So we have observed there must be some reasons for this. Rather than judging and being negative or running away, no, I am determined to stay, to learn, find the causes, find the reasons, and help the change.
But what that change, what would bring it though? Do we need to re-educate public sector or whoever is involved in this thing? Or do we just need to re-engineer the process themselves?
Yeah, I think there are different elements, and we have to know the different elements. You combat the actual elements. Number one element is called the fear factor. Okay, the fear factor comes from a legitimate reason. Very important to know that. The legitimate reason is that this nation, unlike the other countries of Africa, this is the Switzerland of Africa, number one peaceful nation, number one wealth before nation, and never wars and never apartheid and never anything else. Why would you want to change? You are the high. You are very successful. Don't change at that time. In fact, that created the mentality of, please, don't notice me. I don't want to be discovered. I'm camouflaged. Okay, I am like Smurfetland.
Yeah.
Okay, the Gargamel wants to come and eat us up. So please, don't let anyone come in.
Don't discover us.
Don't discover us. We were like Wakanda, and we have something so great that it should not be lost. That's good.
Yeah.
We are also Shangri-La. Okay, don't discover us. We are Wakanda, Shangri-La, Smurfetland. But now, if you don't merge into the world community, you will be at a danger point of that, I call it iceberg, hitting your ship and you fall. Okay, the problem of the iceberg story, I want to build it.
Yeah.
Okay. It was not the iceberg that is at fault. It was there millions of years. It wasn't the ship that was so strong and big, like Botswana's government and Botswana itself. It was the people who were on the ship, including the captain and others. If they didn't maneuver fast, they would have been lost. And they did. Not us. Yeah. We are now maneuvering. So also discovering early the problems. Yeah. So many people may, because we don't want the fear factor of being panicking, at the same time we don't want to say, nothing is wrong, it will solve by itself. No. There's dangers. Why? What are the dangers? If you lose your financial credit rating, you will fall. Not only fall, already you have fallen below Zimbabwe, you will fall below Malawi, you will fall below Burundi. You cannot go there. If we go south, we cannot come back up again for a long time.
Okay. So you're talking about credit rating there. We protected ourselves, and that built a very strong credit rating for us, as you say. Now, the fear could be if we open too much, our credit rating might go down.
No.
Or are the times right now better for us to open? It was okay to be afraid then, but maybe better now for us to open?
Yes, if we don't open now, we will die. Okay. I want to say very simple, die, sink.
So the rain we were afraid of is gone now.
Yeah, and the reverse.
Yeah.
If you don't open up, you should be afraid. Why? Because opening, first of all, you are the most fertile land. You have everything. You know how much wealth it's here?
Including the recently discovered?
Yeah, it's much more than that.
Yeah.
Yesterday we were with the Botswana Geological Institute and Geoscience Institute, and with my top world experts in discovering the coal bed methane in new areas, in much deeper areas, in the central areas, and with the many other mining discoveries. What exists here? At least 30 categories, each $1 trillion industry. Minimum, you have $30 to $50 trillion of money in the ground. And some of them will be extracted. Some of them don't need to be extracted to become cash. Can be digitalized while they are dormant, can be calculated and can become cashed. But the point is this: all of this will not become a reality if we don't move fast.
Okay.
Because right now, one source of money that was diamond, I call it the great uncle that was billionaire that fed the country for 50 years. The uncle is either ill or actually dead. Okay. It doesn't matter. Don't mourn, don't be afraid, don't be angry. So think of 10 more pockets of revenue generation, each one of them bigger than the diamond.
All right. But how do we monetize that? We don't know how to monetize those things. Diamonds, we saw the template was already there, it was monetized for us. How do we start monetizing what we have?
Exactly what you said. That's why in the budget program, there was no talk, zero talk about new pockets of revenue generation. We know as individual, as family, as clan, as tribe, as a country, when we talk finance, it's 50-50. 50 is called expenses and expenditures and wastage, how we manage that. This, Botswana is now doing very well. But zero talk about new revenue generation. So if you really go and rate like a university, you are a student and you wrote a solution and you gave the solutions of cost management, but not revenue generation, your grade is not A or B or C. It's actually near flunk. So yes, I'm speaking the truth. The nation has not learned methodologies and large pockets of revenue generation. Neither the state-owned enterprises, we have 63 of them, parastatals, we have 300, even government, 18 ministries, about 500 departments, and including even very few institutions have learned to make monies and grow their monies. Okay, and in fact, the revenue of the diamond that was surplus, rather than going to sovereign wealth fund and grow by the local knowledge in international markets and domestic, was put only as savings or put as investments in the financial papers of America and the West. And it fell down and they lost. So a lot of surplus of this country was lost by mismanagement or no management. So now we have to get all that knowledge in fast internally. That's why my number one initiative for the country, and I've been at it 10 months, okay? It is called Creating Botswana to become the savings and cash deposit capital of the world. That means the destination of the silent monies from other countries and regions to come here. So we become the banking safe haven and the banking offshore so that every account can be opened long distance without being resident, and large monies will come here because it's safe and because we give higher interest rates and because we know how to take that money and reinvest it in areas that will give much higher returns.
Because I was going to ask there, how do we back up people's money? I mean, the money comes here, we need to back it up with something. We have resources, but we haven't monetized nor tokenized enough, or we haven't started tokenizing yet to say we can tokenize this certain assets so that we can back up people's money. Right? This is money coming from there to here. Due diligence, I think we are okay. We look at our Moody ratings, you look at our money laundering policies, we are okay. But we need to tokenize to back up this. How fast can we do it?
First of all, the question that you brought, which is very correct, is called time to wealth generation. So there are what I call immediate, short-term, mid-term, long-term, and strategically what we call longest. Okay. All of these has to be done at the same time. The result will be time-wise differently. So when we start, we must start. So which categories there are? When you have silent monies. These are savings of other people. These monies move fast.
And they come in foreign exchange.
Yeah, they come in terms of savings, deposits, certificate of deposit. They get 7%, 9%, and they stay 2 years, 5 years, and then they either exit or just renew it. And we can catch it from US, Europe, China, Asia. Everywhere they are taking 1%, at the most 2.5%. Here, if we give higher return, we can attract them. That attraction can happen within 9 months to 1 year. Some country like Bangladesh that was poor did it, and in 1 year brought $36 billion. Botswana can do triple, 5 times of that. That means at least 100 billion US dollars can come here in 1 year. I'm not saying it will come. It all depends on how we really, as I call, prepare ourselves, do the homework, but has that potential. If that cash comes in and it circulates through the market, first in the bank, then it can go to 5 utilizations. It can go as what we call it direct investments in private equity, or investments in the capital market, which is faster, or become only as a loan, okay, that we have the debt, and the loan can give the interest back, that can pay the interest of the money investors first. Not investors, this is capital collection. Yeah. So this kind of money is not investment money. Is capital, silent money, capital collection and reutilization. It can even be the backer of guarantee. The money that is the backer of guarantee gets its own returns also. And high frequency trading. There is a lot of the countries of the world, they learned, the Europe and the US and even Asia, they learned the large monies of savings to reinvest into high frequency. So post-secondary markets or high vibration monies. So if we have a mixture of this and a group of people who have learned this, as the money comes in, we also prepare ourselves and we increase the learning, then we should be able, because right now here, even on a private equity, there are tons of projects that can give 30% returns, 35% returns. If you give the silent money 7%, triple of that, 21% return is already safe. And we have large numbers of these projects. But again, to remember, silent monies are fast. Reinvesting in capital markets is faster. Digitalization is fast. Private equity is not fast. It's midterm. It takes 2 to 4 years. Because first you have to convince the money in that situation, the money is not silent or brainless money. The money calculates all the risks. They call the 5 reviews. We have first the technical review. If a machinery, if it's a technology, if it's a factory, technically will work or not. Then we have the legal review, were there before a lot of booby traps or not. Then it will go to commercial review. There is a market for it. If we produce, is there a market somewhere? Then we have to prepare for the market and put budget in the marketing first before we do production. Then comes commercial and financial. Okay, return on investment. Is it IRR, how much? ROI, how much? Then partner reliability. All of these takes months to years. And even when you put the money doesn't go to the pocket of government, it doesn't go to the society, it goes to the project. It needs 2 years of production and market until it becomes gestation period, and that means revenue is created and profit, and that becomes proceeds. So for the money in the private equity to become proceeds, it takes 2 to 3 years, minimum.
All right.
Sometimes 3 to 5 years. That's why the private equity funds, they're either 3 to 5 years or 5 to 7 years or 7 to 10 years. So this is why a proof that the private equity takes time, because the whole industry has learned to create private equity funds, never 2 years. They are minimum 3 to 5 years.
All right. But what do we need as a country to get this going? Because for us to bring all the silent monies and all this investment, we need to have a certain structure on the ground. What do we need, or what do we have that we're not using properly to attain this?
Yeah, the good thing is that I started writing about this in April of 2025. And now by February end, there has been what we call it a high level of approval and attention from both Mr. President and the whole team. Yeah. It is in the point of research and discussions, but very fast. We have now a task team, and the task team has had the first meeting, and the exact questions that you are asking, it will be reviewed and understood and answered. So basically on the mechanism of how and the mechanism of what policies are already available and all of these, it's being worked out. But the timetable is only 1 month. Within 1 month, we will have 3 meetings and an opinion will be formed and mechanisms created so that by April, everything will be ready, and it takes only 6 months to market it. Actually, it is positioning Botswana to have the identity of being savings destination for all the African monies and all the Asia and Europe and US. So, and it's not only that, it opens the door for Botswana to become financial hub for Africa. That means including the savings and cash deposit, including capital market, including then the companies, SMEs and the funds. We will have minimum of 20 funds that can be created here. Infrastructure fund, health tech fund, agricultural resources bank, mineral resources bank, even several mining funds. And of course, our sovereign wealth fund can be activated. We have had in-depth discussions of, again, how many sources of revenue reasonable to come to the sovereign wealth fund and which where we will invest it out so that the returns are safe and high. And even though we started it late, but better late than never. So that means right now, the government and some of us are in discussions and in the discovery of many pockets of new revenue. That is healthy. So as you said, what we should do, on the one hand, on the level of the Bank Botswana, Governor of Central Bank, and also the CEO of Botswana Stock Exchange, and also on the non-banking NBFIRA, and also on the Banking Association, the whole group, they are very active now. So we will be expecting hopefully good results soon. On the other hand, on the private equity, which is BTAP projects, and BTAP is the second phase projects. These are future forward projects. As Mr. Vice President rightfully said, this is for Vision 2036. So it's a 10-year window project. Although quite a few results will happen in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, but by its nature, it's a bit longer. At the moment, it doesn't have capital, and many of the projects don't even have a strong feasibility studies. But they are still very important for diversification because there have been 6 main sectors, productive sectors, and 2 services sectors have been focused projects selected. In fact, the money from the savings can go into that too. And the money from private equity and also funds can go into these investments too. But before that, we have, luckily, it's very important to realize that, luckily, whatever was the negative points of the past is now the resource of today. Okay. That means here is Botswana, fertile land, but dried, no money, no cash. That's the danger. Yeah. So 1, cash is to bring savings in and activate it. 2, there are many projects before BTAP who wrote letters that we have money and we are willing to come and invest. And these letters have been written in the past 1 year, at least 200 such. And before 1 or 2, 3 years, even in the time of Masisi, 700, 1,000 of such groups that have money and they want to come.
So people are willing to come?
Oh, there is a large number of people willing to come, but this window will not last long. If the rating falls down and if the foreign exchange becomes weak, then we will not come.
Not everyone is attractive forever.
Yeah. No. Right now, there is a danger of the existing monies in the society to be excavated and out. Evacuated, you can call it. Taken out. So if the money that is here, that is pension funds and some of the private family offices and some of the institutions, and I don't want to mention the names because several of them come to us, they want to close shop and be exited. So I get the first-hand knowledge. There is a danger of the money that is existing here is going to be evacuated. Why? Because there is no vitality, no virility, no, what we call it, the vibrations, okay? So while we have to keep the rating, keep the value of the pula, and not let both of them fall. If they fall, that is the iceberg. And bring in fast money, cash, activate this cash, and open the dam where the 700, 1,000 projects from the past were willing to come in and they were not allowed.
Okay. But how, those that might have lost hope, do we still have a chance of re-attracting them?
Easy, we have a chance to attract them. It's called reverse engineering.
Right.
We pre-approve projects. So the block is one we didn't want. Subliminally, subconsciously, we were the Wakanda, we were the Smurfit land, we were the ideal land, we were Shangri-La. Now that the need has changed, our mind is not changing. The mechanism is not changing. For example, we have all the project approvals goes to one attorney general. He's a great man, I met him. So, but that system mechanism, that there is a bottleneck, totally has to go away, fast. The approval of projects should be 1 week. In Ghana, with John Mahama, we started all this dialogue and he created a 24-hour economy. 24-hour turnaround economy. So speed is everything. Now, projects that were sitting here 3 to 5 years, they should come in within 2 weeks.
Okay.
Now this one, even the administration that I talked to, they are not yet acted on it.
All right.
So we are expecting that they will.
Okay. So now let's take a zoom in a little bit into BTAP, obviously. These are projects that are there that need to activate, obviously in the long term, the economy of this country, or need to be activated.
No, even BTAP, we should activate it now.
Now, okay?
But by its nature, because the money has to convince the monies.
Okay.
These are projects that were newly selected. Whereas the other letters of interest or expressions of interest, they came themselves. They set up offices. So they are, this period of reviews they already did. So at least we are saving 1 to 2 years if we first activate the previous investors. Then also the new investors. And sometimes the previous investors may join into the BTAP too. So it doesn't mean because it is a midterm to long term that we should wait midterm on long term. No, we have to activate it now. But remember, the cash money, the silent money is like sand dunes with the wind, they come fast.
Yeah.
2, the existing expressions of interest, which means they are ready, they can come in also fast. Then we attract the future monies to come in, whether sovereign wealth funds, royal families, family offices, institutional capital, petrodollar monies, and now, of course, Oman is coming to invest also in oil and even in the gas exploration. Great. Exploration takes 2 years, gas takes 5 years, but we have to do it because where the next money of the country comes is from there.
Okay.
Okay.
So this, how do we, okay.
Think of, as I said, many pockets of money.
Yeah.
Activate all of them at the same time, not wait. But remember, this will take this long, that will take this long, that will take this long, this is fast. Okay. So if the government now has adopted to make Botswana the destination for savings, within 1 year, if we receive $50 billion, next year's budget will be not deficit, will be surplus. That will save us in the between, interim. Beyond that, no danger for this country. This country has too much wealth. But the speed of the development of those wealth takes time. So that's why I came up with an immediate solution first, and then interim solution, then the long-term solution. So if, and I believe it will happen, the government makes a branding that Botswana, hey, we put our, here, the flag. We are your safe destination for all your monies.
Okay.
You know how powerful that will be after a while, within a short time? Because we are really safe, both physically and also financially. And before the rating comes down. Then all others, even the Egyptians, they told me, if you give us 7%, even 5%, we'll put all our monies here, we'll park the monies here. Even Nigeria, even all others, they'll come here. So why? Because it's the financially also it's safer. So much more so even the Middle East monies. Now is the best timing that where their monies, they want to come now to much better safe haven areas. So again, cash, immediate money. Then those who already wanted to come and we blocked them, unblock. but unblock it fast. This one, I'm afraid there has not been taken action yet. And this is very surprising.
But when they go somewhere else?
Yeah, no, they will not necessarily. Okay. Some of them go. I brought a public listed company of Hong Kong. They came here 2 times and there was no action. They just left and they're not coming back. But even them, if I say now, I have now the reverse. I have this project. It is fast approval. In fact, there is a letter of expression from the government that if you come, we approve for you right away. They will come. So the problem is this, again, very important. I am very surprised. Why? This is a small thing. There is a paralysis. Why would a nation that badly needs the money, and the money is at the door, and the money is willing to come, does not approve it? That's the question to ask.
Are we not afraid too much of due diligence, safety of this money, where it came from, is it clean money, and so on? Is that not the fear that is then driving decision making?
Yes, and that fear is not legitimate fear. Okay. It doesn't exist. You can easily monitor and open at the same time. So that's exactly what China solved. China was saying that the fact that I'm afraid of the flies to come in doesn't mean I shouldn't open the window.
I'll die of the heat.
No, I'll open the window when it's needed, but I have a screen.
Okay.
And I have the aircon, so they can open the fresh. So this is analogy anyway. Right. It's not a fact. The fact is that the money, to research the money's origin and to research the entrepreneurs, how real they are, it is not so difficult. It just needs a bit of due diligence abilities. As you said, Botswana is good at it. It's not bad at it. KYCs and all others. So that is what I call a theoretical fear that is not real. It has to go away.
All right. Now, how do we translate this now to a Botswana? At high level, it's easy. It's an engine that can operate. But we need, obviously, the Botswana involved in this, or the person living in Botswana, not necessarily Botswana, the person who's living the actual day-to-day economy in Botswana to understand this thing.
Yeah, at the moment, this topic is not for the Botswana day-to-day.
All right.
It still is government entities that are blocking it.
Okay.
And they are blocking it even in good faith, but bad result.
Yeah.
They should learn how to unblock. I call it the default automatic system should be a go-through, must go through, not block, block, block. I have used several times the analogy. This is country of a lot of beautiful layers of cloth, no needle allowed to go through to make it into the royal robe. No matter how good the cloth is, if you don't make it into the dress, has no value. The dress makes the value of the cloth 10 times, 100 times more. Okay. Royal robe, even more, 1,000 times.
All right. So key things that you mentioned there, one of them is velocity, because we need to move at speed, right?
But let me bring it to specific.
Okay.
Because you asked. The specific is that the government departments in charge of project approval, that is the Attorney General's office, can create 20 sub-offices, train them and go through the process of faster approvals. Make a checklist and then make it an automatic checklist. And in a fast, there is a mechanism needs to happen. There needs to be a supervisory, another task force, but this task force will go and get all the projects and fast review and automatically approve it. And any new proposal that comes, if there is no objection, it will not be put into the desks, eating dust. So we should make a model of no objection equals approval.
Okay.
So it's called silent acquiescence.
It shouldn't be reevaluation.
No.
Okay. So now this obviously needs to...
Mechanism. It has to happen now from Mr. President, from the President's office, from the presidential delivery unit. And that process, it should be, instead of, as I said, 5 years, 3 years, it should be not even 3 months, not even 3 weeks.
All right.
So this machinery is a very particular case. That means project approvals, lifespan should be maximum 1 week. Maximum 1 week.
All right.
Can we do that? That's the question.
So the manpower that is needed there is there.
It's there.
I believe you've done a due diligence to check
Everything is
if
there.
We have the manpower.
The project is there, proposal is there, the companies are there, they will invest, and it's their money. What risk do you have?
Yeah.
So we should have zero fear of risk. We are not giving them land first. Yeah, if you're going to give and assign them a land, you can even give the land permit provisional. okay, we'll give you the right for the land for 6 months. If this money comes in 10%, it will become 3 years. If 50% of the money comes, okay, you have the land. We can make so many good mechanisms that will, what we call, take care of the worries. So we don't need to have worries because we can be both. Allow them come in faster, provisional, we research them and give the approval. Let their own ability be the block or not block.
Okay.
Because so many of them, let's say 100 project signing. This is one. Please, if you want to.
But so how do we translate this? Because sometimes someone doesn't understand the importance of creating these things. The biggest cries we have now is obviously lack of revenue. And then the other bigger one is unemployment. And this is mostly youth unemployment. And that's the 60% of the country.
Yeah.
How do we make people understand the agency of this has got nothing to do with country X or company X investing, but it's got to do with the fact that if they invest in 1 week, as you say, it means in 2 weeks there's a job.
Exactly. The whole point is to understand there is an ecosystem. There is a condition. Yeah. If the condition is just like the human body, okay? If there is paralysis, if there is lethargy, when the body doesn't move, after a while even the blood cannot circulate. You just will become what we call it weaker and weaker, the muscles, and then the digestion system, and one person becomes...
Everything gets clogged and clotted.
Yes.
All right.
So the point that you mentioned, which is very important to go more in depth, and the point is that unemployment. I don't want to pass by it.
Yep.
So the word unemployment has with it employment. Remember, this word employment is not the highest ideal situation. It was 30 years ago, 50 years ago, in fact, 100 years ago was the important word. Because everything is the steel industry, coal industry, mining employment, then became office jobs, then became banking jobs. That situation, employment and unemployment, is a very important indicator. Right now, it's not employment or unemployment, but the money circulation.
Okay.
Okay. In the total country, how much money is there, and how much the money is scared and therefore is in hiding, how much the money is scared is moving out, and how much money is coming in, and how that will be circulated. With that modeling, the entire country unemployment will disappear.
Right. So if we circulate the money, if we open or we break the dam wall to let money flow in, we won't have unemployment issues.
No. People don't, exactly this is the mistake in their mind. They think, let's say the visas, what we call it residency visa, or we can say the work permits. They think, wow, look at this, the unemployment is 36%. If I open and the other competition comes, they eat up the rest of the whatever. Maybe it will jump up to become 66%. Maybe unemployment will be so bad, 90%. Wrong thinking. You open, the unemployment will go down and will become 10% within 1 year.
But we are counting the number of people coming in. Are they, but we don't calculate, are they coming to look for work or are they bringing revenue and movement?
There will be a medley and mix of both.
Okay.
The ratio of those who will bring money, will bring jobs, will make companies, and joint venture with the locals will be much higher than those who only on employment compete. Even the visa we open, we can give it directional. It doesn't mean just on smart way of opening. I have sat down with the Ministry of Labor and the visa to discuss about the methodologies by which you open and yet you will not suffer. There is a lot of knowledge on this. Even on the internet, if you check, if a country that has high unemployment, if they open the economy to the foreign investors, will they lose or they will? They say temporarily it may come a bit lower and they may unemployment increase. In the long term, they will win big time. The knowledge is spread everywhere in the world. Yeah. I'm not inventing this knowledge.
And when you look at countries that have moved fast, let's take Dubai as an example. Yeah. It was not necessarily the locals who did this. Yeah. It's the diversity of opening up that did this. we are afraid, but who should we open to? Are we opening to fellow Africans, or are we opening to everyone united and in diversity?
Okay, on this, I don't want to say blanket opening.
Yeah.
I want to say well-designed opening.
Okay.
First, the target should be that this country can have 1 million new residents, maybe 100,000 new citizens, but on merit. They have to earn it. They have to qualify for it. So one can put requirements. Okay, it's not just the open passport that is $95,000. You can buy the passport. No, but beyond that, you must bring investments. You must bring employment. You can design a very clear chart that no matter what happens, the nation will win, and yet it is open. So what I mean is that first we have to not be narrow, that we are giving visas 400 per year, 2,000 per year. You have to go to 200,000. All of a sudden you have to multiply it by 100x, but for categories that you pre-designed.
All right. So now,
so that means you can have passport owners that not only put money and buy, but they must invest and they must have many other value additions, but they can get the passport. Then you have permanent resident that is lifeline, like a green card, that they are present here and they are not just a 5-year residency. Okay, so, and then there are the golden visas, maybe 10 years, just like. Then the 5 years, then the other visas. Even the other visas opening on merit basis can become much wider open. At any rate, if this country doesn't open fast, it is the iceberg. This is my expert opinion. I'm not talking with emotions or as the person who cares for the best interests of this nation. So visa and immigration opening is a key indicator, but not haphazard, on certain merit basis.
All right.
And there are scientific ways.
All right.
Projects that have money, that they said that I have my money, don't be afraid. Among them, there will be 2 or 3 or 5 charlatans. They will not. If they don't have the money, they will not come. And the land, you don't give it to them first. I have smart ways that it can be gradual. I designed it for the whole of China.
Yeah.
So we know how I designed it with others, not just me alone, but a lot of them were. So the point is that there are clever ways, but being passive and waiting and thinking is not a clever way.
All right. So now we open to let people in and money in. It's going to choke us. We need to let something out. The export movements in Botswana to try and get things out to be exported. Can this movement of in money and in people also facilitate export or outgoing commodities and skills that are needed by the outside world?
Absolutely, yes, because this is a free flow vortex.
Okay.
Vortex means it has an eye of the vortex. It attracts, produces, and exports, and makes the circle wider and wider. So that's why I called Botswana the epicenter of Africa, the headquarters of Africa, the eye of the vortex of Africa, and where a lot of wealth will come, will be built in joint ventures arrangements that the locals are involved in it. So, beneficiation has different ways. You can call, this is very important because the whole country cares about beneficiation.
Yeah.
Just remember how wise we are to talk about this. Beneficiation, it can be only vertical, but it can be horizontal and increment. So one beneficiation is called joint ventures. That means the foreign investor, when it comes, must joint venture with locals. That means that money and the shareholding is jointly. Okay, so we designed that thing for China. Certain industries, you were not allowed to come in on your own unless if you made joint ventures. And there were whole levels of that. The other one is not necessarily joint venture, but if you have a high local employment, that's also beneficiation. But in cases where they don't have any local employment, will that mean there is no beneficiation? Wrong. You may have an enterprise that doesn't employ Botswana, but brings a knowledge of metallurgy, mining. Automatically they will hire Botswana anyway. Yeah. But then they will do further processing and then further processing and more processing. All of a sudden the raw material is now added value, added value, added value. And it is added value here. So that is the increment of money that is remaining here. So that's also beneficiation.
All right. So beneficiation is not necessarily on the charity
surface
side of saying, no, make sure that there's a school, make sure that it's got many layers as well.
Many layers. By the very fact that the economy becomes vibrant, active, and flowing, because in economy, velocity, it creates the heat. So the horizontal velocity creates the heat of the value of the money and the economy and the GDP and everything go up.
Okay.
So the only fear is that if you are silent, if you are introvert, if you are fearful, if you are closed on all layers, not just the immigration, but also on allowing the investors to come in. So, and as I said, there are every single country that went through the process of opening benefited. Whether it was Dubai, whether it was the Republic of Ireland, poorest country of Europe became the richest. You have to study why.
Yeah.
Okay, and whether it was China. China has a word. Okay, they call it 改革开放, means reform and opening. Reform and opening. In Botswana, so far, we don't have reform, we don't have opening. We are sitting ducks to be shot at. I must say this also.
Yeah.
With all my love, I said there is a warning. Don't be complacent, see everything automatically will work out. You don't want to become Burundi and Malawi and lost. You don't want to be what we call it, Central African Republic. Botswana is going fast down there. I must say that. Unless if you listen to this.
Yeah.
Unless if you wisely and also consciously and in consultation create this dialogue. Today what we are doing is just opening a dialogue.
Yeah.
I'm not a decision maker. I'm not making any rule. I'm not going to come and override. Okay, I am here still humbly to serve the nation. And you will know, you will feel who is here to serve. I'm here to serve. Okay.
Right. So we're looking at a few key things that towards our closing that we need to look at. One of them being obviously monetization of our resources. The second one being getting
monetization of resources is too long.
Okay.
Yeah, your gas takes 5 to 7 years. Your coal 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Copper maybe 3 to 5 years. Any other, whether it's quartz or whether it is rare earth, 5 years, 7 years. We have no 5 years.
So now we need to now open up to seeing how we activate projects, proposals, and initiatives as fast as possible.
Again, prioritize.
Yeah.
First and foremost, in 1 month, make a signing ceremony of 100 projects in one slate.
And then
Can Botswana not do that?
Okay.
You don't have the ability to do that? 100 good projects. They have written 700 such projects. You select the better, review, talk to them in a short time, and make an announcement. Botswana is open for business. All the investors come and sign. Out of the 100, 20 of them move. And within 1 year, they put monies here. Done.
All right.
Why people don't act on it? So even the government, please. Okay.
All right.
Okay. Now the other one is this one. Number 2, savings and cash deposit. This is going well.
They must come in.
Yeah, it must come in. The government is acting on it.
Okay.
Okay.
So it's already started. People are bringing.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Yeah, people are reviewing of how to do it, but they have determined that this is the correct strategy. So we are in the interim.
How did you not know about these things for 50 years?
Yeah, because as I said, you were in a good shape.
Okay.
Okay, you're good people, happy people, kind people. I mean, every good in humanity. You don't quarrel. At least you go to the hotla and the elders. They consult. You find. I mean, even you're so good that even the prisons don't keep you too long, and they say go out again. And then again, this is actually a problem. Actually, it has to be there. It has to be a bit more tough.
Okay.
So that the crime rate also. But it is so much human right on this country that sometimes it is not healthy. So we need to have discipline. Okay, the foundation of the human order is based on both reward and punishment. Not only reward, but not only punishment. So we need to have strong machineries and mechanisms, But the key still is opening. If your mouth you shut, and this one you close, how long will you be alive?
Yeah,
Sorry, I am showing to you Botswana is now. This is, I have to be visual to realize it's not a simple theory. Botswana is suffering big time, not allowing the monies to come in. And
but when you looked at this, right, except for approvals, what is it that has been stopping money from coming in? Is it interest of certain people, or is it just we don't need the money?
No. It's just the reality change.
Okay.
So, sometimes a physical reality changes, your mind is not moving as fast as that physical reality. So then the fact that Botswana didn't need the capital to be invested, actually it needed, they just didn't realize. Diamonds are forever, okay? So why should I bother? Less headache is better than more headache. Here is that less headache is killing you. You need to have more headache.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid of more headache. You are wise enough to manage the headache.
But should we? How do we step into that? We've been comfortable.
The headache for me in the analogy is like the sharks in the water.
Okay.
You are in Titanic. You are not afraid of the sharks. You should be afraid of
the iceberg.
Okay, which one? This small tiny thing. I am saying the nation of Botswana, which is highest potentials, which is now in the lowest time in their own history, which can easily come back up, is blocking itself.
So we need to step out into this particular light. How do we? We've been comfortable here. We've literally been saying, no,
the sharks are there.
No, it's okay. We are okay.
We are in the Titanic.
And
but now you have the iceberg is there and you are not.
No, we think it's small. It looks small.
Exactly. At least you picked up the analogy and made it better. Exactly.
Yeah. So now we need to step into this, right?
One of my ways as an independent person, as a humanitarian person, as the one who helped the entirety of China rise out of poverty, 1.3 billion people out of poverty. I don't want to say I take the credit. No, the hardworking people of China. But my policies and my modeling and my strategies were the foundation for it. Okay. So the same thing as somebody like that is exactly what I'm saying is that you are comfortable in the Titanic. Here are the sharks. You were afraid of them. Now you're going fast to the
iceberg.
The
sharks are getting their appetites ready.
They are very happy that you're going to fall.
All right. Okay. So now we obviously need to move the people themselves. What would you say to Botswana out there to pick up on this? Because it's one thing for the public sector, government and everyone to pick up on this. Yeah. But as an individual,
my message is go register companies. Okay. Company means stock holding, shareholding. Okay. If you are youth and you are waiting for employment monies and this no, consult. You're good at consultation. Talk to 3, 5, 7 and create a group and register a company. And then another group, register. Register in 1 year, 2,000 new companies, 10,000 new companies. Each select a direction and move forward. Don't wait for government purchase orders. Go look at the market. Luckily, you are connected through LinkedIn, you are connected through WhatsApp, you are in the groups. There are so many summits that come here. Creative, active, you proactively.
Okay.
I know 800 Chinese billionaires. I know 2/3 of them when they were poor. When I look at Botswana I see in them billionaires, but they themselves don't know yet. Africa's rise is going to create a lot of wealth. Who is the first mover? Who has a vision? Who has that message into them? Let me not wait. I am going to be the first. First go with $1 million revenue, then become $10 million revenue. I created a lot of revenue. Okay, I'm different than others. I spent it all for my causes, but I created maybe at least $100 million. All right. So I create money, but I spend it. All right. So some people, they create and keep it. That's for money making and money keeping, and then that is even a better model. But for me, I like influence, and I like turning my money into the network around the planet and helping with a lot of methodologies and strategies. Each one of us are different, but you must create the money.
So now we want things coming in, people coming in. Are Botswana, when you look at them from your outside perspective, are they a kind of people that would fit in if they were to go elsewhere? Because we've got skills here that might not necessarily be much needed here for now, but can be needed elsewhere. Are we exportable as a people?
Yes, it is very good. You are exportable because of trust, because of knowledge, education, communication, all the elements you have, and many countries would welcome you.
So you shouldn't be afraid to go out.
No, go, build, come back. But go with the idea that I want to build Africa.
Yeah.
Because the next decade is not there. So remember, I'll again explain. Of course, we don't like wars, and we want humanity to mature. But whatever is the phase, now the GCC and Middle East is going to be down for another 3 to 5 years, maybe. Fastest, maybe 1 year.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, monies will want to come out. Then Europe, long ago, is lost, became very poor. Still, there are some old institutional monies and some family monies, but not populations. Then China, that was for 30 years, 12, 13%. This year, the GDP is 4.5%. Next year, it will be 4, even 3.5%. China is going down, GCC down, US, Europe down. Where is coming up?
Yeah.
Africa.
So meaning that potentially challenges there could be a benefit here.
Exactly.
If we are prepared to receive the benefits. Now, so let's look at how things are going to fall out. Money is coming in, right? Do we know how to use this, or do we need to retool ourselves towards how best to invest the savings that are coming, investments that are coming, to make sure they return to the country basket?
Some they know and some they don't know. A large number, the knowledge is not yet there. As I said, this is a generational, in fact, multi-generational advantage that became disadvantage. The same thing that made you go up, because it is now disappeared, it's now putting you down, and you didn't have preparations to replace it. So let's say diamond gave you GDP that was $20 billion. Okay. How about without diamond? Can you make a GDP that is $50 billion? Okay, without diamonds, can you have a certain pocket of money that will come in 1 year more than $50 billion? Of course you can. All the pockets I mentioned, they are 20, 30, 50 billion. That means I have identified pockets of money that within 1 year to 3 years, each one of them can replace diamond. Double of that, triple of that, 10 times more than that. Tie you over for 5 years, where your gold and rare earth and then the gas all becomes tangible cash. So the country prospects is very high. So even all the vivid ways of bringing to attention the dangers for the immediate, on the other hand, for the long term, there is a lot of prospects of wealth.
Okay. Now,
but remember, even the people who are planning, for example, for 3 to 5 years from now, let's say, for God forbid, we didn't perform well, and anyone who comes later, whether it's 5 years, 3 years from now, or 7 years from now, if they come to power, a new administration, where Botswana has become Malawi and Burundi and even worse, they will be faced with much more problem. So better any other, even the, what we call it, main party, opposition party, side party, and a new party, let's join forces and build this one to succeed.
okay.
Not wait for this economy to fall and then you can pick it up and you are more challenged.
All right. So now, all these brilliant concepts and ideas being there, won't they then make everyone else put the UDC government under pressure? They are the government of the day. Expectations are very high.
Yeah.
Are they not under pressure?
I'd love them to be under pressure.
Okay.
They should want to be under pressure. Because we want to what? We want to deliver to the nation. No cosmetics, no shows, no nominal. We have real things, and these real things are doable. The country luckily is the most attraction destination in Africa.
Okay.
So it's not that, oh, we are so much in trouble and there is so much lethargy of the outsiders or of even domestics that we can do nothing. So let the government just showcase things. No, the government can perform very well.
All right.
If the people are with it and the people don't wait for the government.
All right. So one of the things that comes, and this is one of the last questions, that it's a government that's new, and the friends of the country are looking from a distance to see if we can get there or not, right? What should they do?
Signaling.
Okay.
We have to give signaling.
All right.
Botswana is open for business. Botswana is becoming more and more alive. There is a lot of number of investors are coming in, and here is the signing, here's the signing. And not only that, you see, we are the investment destination, and we are also cash safe haven destination. Everybody is coming. Those who were going out, now they are reversing to come 2 or 3 messages, and the whole, what I call, we have to sell to Botswana a new realm of possibility. And everyone who is pessimistic, who is angered, who is so much negative talk, all the negative media should stop. Okay? Dialogue of how we turn the negative into positive. So anyone who complains to the other, themselves mentally and psychologically have problems.
Okay.
That is the law of the spiritual world.
All right. So the confidence on this country, it can come back. Because a few reasons there and there, people will be like, hey, new government, I'm not so confident. But how do we as a people help the UDC government, the government of the day?
We can, as a people, we can create companies, we can raise monies, we can do crowd financing, we can do conglomerate creations, we can do city-to-city investments. We should be moving around, watching, observing, consulting, groups by groups. Yeah, not even waiting for the government. I can tell you, even there were no cash deposits coming in, and there were no other investors coming in, and no BTA was there. If the population, not even government, decided that I will have source mentality, I will not be complaining, I will find the solutions, even the people in the villages who have become billionaires, I know them. Easy, it's doable. They just don't think. We block our own. We are our own block.
All right.
So with the positive mind and the action of, it's called despite all means and against all odds. If we don't have that gut, that there is nobody understands me, nobody supports me, the government policy doesn't favor me, now I want to will. I want to win because I want to prove to myself God created me with power.
Okay.
It's everything is about a decision inside, a gut decision. Even the weak people, even the poor people can do that.
All right.
My father did it.
All right.
He was illiterate until the age of 20. That means he couldn't read and write. He decided to become a doctor. In 1 year, he finished the 6th grade by himself, no class. 1 year, 9th grade. 1 year, 12th grade. In 3 years, he finished high school with degree by the age 23, 24. He had no money, he was poor, he had to work. So by 35 or 40, he became doctor. And he went to serve the people. He went first to the south, most dangerous place in Balochistan area, where there is tarantula, snakes, and all. And he was the only doctor of the entire Balochistan of Iran and Pakistan. In the border, the only one doctor. Then, of course, he had children, and he even had tarantula bite and many things. So he said, I'll continue service, but then he went to the northern area where it is green. He was the only doctor of 50, 60 villages. He met, I calculated it, 300,000 patients. Very unusual stories. One person can change the lives of so many. Yeah.
All right. Dr. Fazam, thank you very much for your time. I'll take your last word on this so that we may release you and let you go.
Thank you very much. Thanks, my beloved people out there. My message, again, is all practical, pragmatic, real. Any one of you wants to debate and argue, and this is a good dialogue. Let's do it among ourselves and yourself and with me. I'm up for the game.
All right, thank you very much. And that marks the end of our conversation on the thing said. I think ideally what we pick up and we need to carry forward is that speed is important, is that planning is important, is that supporting this without complaining, without nagging, without crying and saying, we have to move this. I like his analogy of the iceberg. It looks very small. Our Titanic Botswana is going towards that. Are we going to stay in time so that we don't become dinner for the sharks? Thank you for watching.
And action.
And action. Yeah.